Hello, I'm Sensei Alex Kakuya. The title of today's talk is Goodness is Its Own Reward. Before we get into that, please subscribe and hit the notification bell. That way you'll be notified when I post talks in the future. If you wouldn't mind hitting the like button, that'd be great too. In the West, we have something I like to call the paradigm of meritocracy, meaning that we try to fit everything into a box where whatever we are doing, there is a beginning, an end, and based on our behavior, there's either a reward or a punishment. Case in point, perhaps we're enrolling in university, and we go to class on the first day and the professor gives us our syllabus and tells us there's going to be a test in 2 weeks. So we attend every day and take notes because we're a good student. We study every night. Maybe we even get a tutor just to make sure we're prepared. And when the test arrives, we do well. We get an A+. So in this situation, there was a clear beginning, an end, and a reward based on our good behavior. Another example might be that we decide we want to run a 5K. Only this time, we don't do what we're supposed to. We don't watch our nutrition, we don't work out the way we should, and on the day of the race, we're completely unprepared, so much so that we're unable to make it to the finish line. So in this situation, again, there's a beginning, an end, only now there's a punishment based on our bad behavior. Believe it or not, however, in both those situations, not finishing the race, getting an A on the test, both situations we're getting exactly what we really want from life, which is finality. We don't really care if we're a good person or a bad person. We just need to know where we fall on the hierarchy. Based on that, we can make decisions and we can move on with our lives. Not knowing is worse in our mind than knowing bad information. And meritocracy is fine for most things. The problem is that huge chunks of our lives don't fall neatly into that paradigm. There's not a beginning, there's not an end, there's not a reward or a punishment. Instead, there's a cycle that goes on and on. We do things with the understanding that our reward is that we'll have to do them again later. We make the bed knowing we'll have to make it again tomorrow. We wash the dishes with the understanding that someone's going to make them dirty again. Maybe us. And this can be a huge source of suffering if we're not careful. If we look at life as if every moment should be a meritocracy, that everything should come with some sort of a reward or a punishment, then we won't know what to do with ourselves when that's not the case. No one's going to call the principal if we don't wash the dishes. No one suffers but us if we don't make the bed. And yet, we have to do these things as part of our daily life. So how do we do them without allowing them to become a source of suffering for ourselves and others? Well, in Buddhism, the way we deal with this conundrum is to just get rid of the idea of reward and punishment altogether. Now, to be clear, we do have goals in Buddhism. We have the goal to realize enlightenment. We have the goal to end all suffering for ourselves and others. But in the midst of all of that, we often say that Buddhism is a goalless practice. Meaning, we strive to learn to sit on the cushion with no goal, no desire other than to sit. We learn to bow to the Buddha with no goal, with no hope of reward beyond bowing to the Buddha. When we learn to do things simply because we need to do them, whether that's sitting or bowing or chanting or sweeping the floor in the meditation hall, then we learn to live fully in the present moment. And when we do that, we open ourselves up to a feeling of satisfaction that comes from doing the right thing. The feeling of goodness that comes from a job well done. Goodness becomes its own reward. And once we do that with our Buddhist practice, we can extend it to our daily lives. We can make the bed simply because we need to make the bed and experience the satisfaction that comes from having a well-made bed, whether or not anyone sees it but us. If we learn to wash the dishes, cut the grass, sweep the floor with no hope other than to do that thing, doing good simply because it's good, then we experience the joy that comes from doing a thing well. Again, whether or not anyone is there to see it. Now, that's not to say it's bad if we get a reward. If someone says good job or congratulations, that can be the cherry on top of the cake. But it can never be the cake itself. Which is why in Buddhism we have a practice called Intoku. Intoku. It's a Japanese word which translates to doing good in secret. So not only do we strive to do good without hope of reward, we actually strive to do good and actively not seek a reward. So if we're in the Buddhist temple, this might be the person who washes the toilets or who waters the grass without being asked to. In our own daily lives, this might be us making coffee for our spouse or helping our colleague work on a project. And when we do these things, ironically, when we do them without the hope for reward, generally speaking, we do get that reward I talked about earlier. We have that sense of satisfaction in ourselves, and we also have the satisfaction of helping other people as well. But it's difficult to help others if we expect something in return. This is why the practice of Intoku, doing good in secret, is so powerful. And when we learn to do good in secret, do good simply because it's good, we'll live fully in this moment and see it for what it truly is. Not good, not bad, just miraculous. Amitabha.